Happy day students, welcome back to the chemistry class of 10th standard from Highgrove Foundation. So to start with, we'll be dealing with the first lesson of chemistry portion of 10th standard. So that is your chemical reactions and equations. So before understanding what is chemical reaction and what is chemical equation, let us first understand what is a chemical change. So in your lower classes, you have understood about different kinds of changes. So what are the different types of changes? We have physical two types of changes. So in and around us, so we just observe a lot of changes which are classified into two main kinds of changes. So one is the physical change and the other one is chemical change. So you have already learnt in your lower classes that physical change is a change in which no new substance will be formed. So that is a change wherein it will just involve change in physical state. So it can be change in the physical state of that substance wherein there will be no new substance formed. The composition will not vary over the chemical composition. But whereas it's not the same in case of chemical changes. For example, if we take if a milk sample, if it is milk or in the house milk, if it is kept, if it is left overnight, or it just turns into curd when it is curdled. If not, sometimes we may also see some milk getting spoiled. So what is the reason behind all these things? There is some chemical reaction which is leading to formation of curd, or whether it is spoiling of milk, chemical reactions will take place which cannot be again reverted back. So once the milk gets spoiled or once it is turning into curd, you just not can get the original thing, milk back, you cannot get it. So there is a formation of new thing and it is irreversible also. But whereas in physical changes, it can be reversed. For example, you take transformation of changes of state of matter in case of water. If you take, so water when it is solidified, freezed, you just get the ice. And when it is in the liquid form water, it will be, when you heat it and turn it into vapor, it will be water vapor. But throughout, whether it is ice, water or water vapor, the composition is H2O itself. So there the chemical composition will not be changing. Whereas in chemical changes, there will be change in the chemical composition. That's a very important concept what it takes place in case of chemical changes. Okay, so other example what we can see is when we have certain iron articles, when we just leave them iron articles without properly taking care of them, sometimes we just find that they get rusted. So iron, which is a pure metal, it just turns into rust which forms a reddish brown coat on that. So we just tell that iron has undergone rusting. So again from rust we can never get iron back. So that means chemical change is irreversible. Other examples we can take food what you use for cooking. So once the food is cooked, again you cannot bring it back to the original components of the food. Okay, similarly food when it is digested also, it is irreversible. After digestion you cannot get the original food components back. If you take the example of your respiration also, so food once it is broken down, C6H12O6 in the presence of oxygen, when it is broken down, you will have the formation of carbon dioxide plus water and energy will be released. So that is again an example what you can just take it as classical examples for your chemical changes. Okay, now these are the things which we observe. So what we learn is that what is a chemical change. So we have just understood that any change where substances react with one another, okay, chemically they will undergo chemical changes. Chemically they will be reacting to form a new substance or substances. So here we should take care that to learn one concept is that definitely there is a chemical change. That means atoms which are taking part in a chemical reaction can break down their forces, chemical forces which they have with other molecules or other atoms, and they can join with new atoms to form a new substance. But the originality of the atoms which are taking part in that chemical reaction will never change. That means there is no formation of a new atom. Only the atoms will associate themselves with other atoms to form a new substance. Okay, so here the process which involves a chemical change, you term it as a chemical reaction. So there are various chemical reactions which you can take them as examples. So whenever you just study about a chemical reaction, it is understood that there are certain substances which are taking part in a chemical reaction. So those substances which take part in a chemical reaction are termed as reactants. What are they termed as? They are termed as the reactants. Okay, and the products which are formed after the chemical reaction is completed, some new substances will be formed, and those will be called as the products of a chemical reaction. So usually whenever you represent a chemical reaction using a chemical equation, then you will be writing the reactants on the left hand side and you will be writing the products on the right hand side. So I have taken two equations or two examples. So we will just learn what actually happens here and then come to the equation. So first example is when magnesium ribbon is taken. So you know magnesium is a metal. Some 2 inches or a length of a particular length of magnesium ribbon can be taken, and when you just burn it in the presence of oxygen, you can just see that magnesium burns with a dazzling white flame. Okay, so what is the result of that reaction? When magnesium burns in the presence of oxygen, it leads to formation of magnesium oxide, which is a new substance. If we take this equation and understand, these are the reactants. Magnesium and oxygen are the reactants which are taking part in the chemical reaction, and magnesium oxide is the product formed here. So it's completely totally new set of properties will be there. So you know magnesium is a solid and oxygen is a gas here. Okay, so this will be the white powder which is formed, and its property will be totally different from magnesium and oxygen. Okay, so now when it is burnt here, it forms a white ash like thing which is called as magnesium oxide, and you cannot reverse it back also. So just let us understand here why this magnesium ribbon, when it is taken, it should be cleaned before taking for an experimentation, because there will be usually a formation of a protective layer for magnesium when it is stored, which usually will be the deposition of magnesium oxide formed by the reaction of magnesium metal with atmospheric oxygen. So in order to take up experimentation, we have to clean that protective layer and then use it for burning. Now just let us calculate the atoms here. So how many atoms of magnesium you have? Here you have 1, and oxygen you have 2 atoms of oxygen here in this molecule of oxygen. But when we just take the formula of magnesium here, so you do not find that 2 oxygen missing. So you can just write it here to balance it. Okay, so magnesium, when it reacts in the presence of oxygen or when it burns in the presence of oxygen, it leads to formation of magnesium oxide, which is a new product here. So you can see there is formation of a new substance. Then another example, zinc, when it is taken and if it is reacted with a sulfuric acid, then you have formation of zinc sulfate and there will be liberation of hydrogen gas. So usually what are the characteristics of chemical reactions? In the sense, there will be change of state, there can be change of color, there can be change of temperature, and there can be formation of a precipitate also. So here, based on all these concepts, we can just understand that a chemical change has taken place or not. For example, change in state of matter, if you take example, you can take the example of formation of water. For example, hydrogen, H2 gas, it combines with O2, H2 to form 2H2O. So that is your formation of water, wherein hydrogen, which is a gas, again reacts with oxygen, which is a gas, and forms a liquid, which is water. So here we can observe and take example for change of state of matter. Next example, change of state, in the sense change of color. So when you just take examples for change of color, you can take example as reaction between citric acid as well as your potassium permanganate. So potassium permanganate solution, when it is done, usually it is dark pinkish in color. Okay, so or a magenta colored solution you will be getting, but once you add some citric acid into that, it turns colorless. So here there is change in the color of that what reactants what you have taken. Then as an example for change in temperature, we can take respiration reaction. I told you C6H12O6, when it is broken down in the presence of oxygen, it just releases some temperature and energy is released. So that is a classical example for change in energy or release of energy. Then when we just take up the example of evolution of gas, this is the example which we take wherein zinc reacts with sulfuric acid and you can see there is liberation of some gases. And for formation of precipitate, you can take the example of a chemical reaction between your potassium iodide and lead nitrate, wherein there will be a yellow precipitate which is formed because of the formation of your lead iodide. So this lead iodide will be giving the yellow precipitate. So that is an example for precipitation reactions. So coming to learn what are chemical equations and what are the types of chemical equations. So here we have chemical equations. It's a symbolic representation of a chemical reaction by using chemical symbols and formulae. Any chemical change when it takes place, you can represent it in two types. One is you use the usual words. So actual words will be used like this: copper plus sulfur gives you copper sulfide. So this plus is used to show the combination of reactions, and our arrow mark will point out the direction of the reaction. So copper sulfide will be there, and again magnesium plus oxygen gives you magnesium oxide. So these are called as the word equation. Same thing, you can use the chemical formulae and symbols here. So Cu plus S gives you CuS, it is called as the chemical equation, and Mg plus O2 gives you MgO, and Zn plus H2SO4 gives you ZnSO4. These are the chemical equations. Now just when you observe here, Cu plus S, one atom of copper reacts with one atom of sulfur and you have formation of CuS, okay, copper sulfide. So here it is same, number of atoms are equal here, but here if you just observe, Mg plus O2 gives you MgO. So here 1 Mg you have and oxygen 2 you have, but what about another oxygen? It is not there here. So you can just balance it. So there is a necessity that whenever a chemical equation is represented, it should be balanced. That means same number of atoms which are taking part in the reaction should be present in the reactant side. There is no loss of atoms in a chemical reaction, because according to law of conservation of mass, atoms can neither be created nor destroyed. So it is very much compulsory that how many atoms are taking part in the chemical reaction should be compulsory present in the products over there. If you just take this example, Zn you have one Zn and one Zn. So SO4, you will have the liberation of H2. So H2 you have here. So you have same number of atoms of all these elements. So it is a balanced equation here. Now let us understand how to balance a chemical equation in steps. So coming to understand the process of balancing chemical equations, we have taken the example of this equation wherein Fe, iron, combines with water to form Fe3O4 plus 4H2. Okay. So first step of balancing chemical equation, whatever the skeletal equation we have taken which is not balanced, first we have to put the boxes here in order to understand that we should not change anything what is there inside the box. So we are not going to change any chemical formulae of the reactants as well as the products, but we have the liberty to change, or we can make any changes using numbers here before the formulae of the reactants as well as the products. Now coming to understand how to balance this, first step will be you just separate them. Second step, you will just list the number of atoms of different elements which are present in the skeletal equation. Now here which are the atoms which are taking part in the chemical reaction? It is the iron, atoms of iron, atoms of hydrogen and oxygen. So same atoms you have that side. Now we will count how many number of atoms of iron are present on the left hand side of the equation. So that is on the reactant side. So how many Fe you have? 1. So that we have written here. But this side, the product, you have 3 iron atoms in this compound. So that 3 iron atoms we have mentioned here. Then you have hydrogen. On the LHS side you have 2, but here you have 2. This is fine, it is same here, okay. But if you just see oxygen, here you have on the LHS side you have 1, whereas on the RHS side you have 4 atoms of oxygen in Fe3O4. So we need to balance this according to the law of conservation of mass. So what we do is we just identify which atom or which element atoms are the highest. So when we just see this numbers, we have 4 to be the highest one. So in order to balance this oxygen 4, we are not supposed to change anything here. So we can just add 4 in this place. So 4H2O. Now oxygen 4 and oxygen 4 atoms are balanced here. Now by adding 4 here or by taking 4 here, this side on the left hand side, hydrogen, it has become 4 2s are 8 atoms of hydrogen are there here, but we have only 2 here. So the next one to be balanced is hydrogen. So 4 2s are 8, and here also if we just take 4 2s are 8 atoms of hydrogen, and 8 atoms of hydrogen is balanced. Now let us check for iron. As oxygen and hydrogen is balanced, we see 3 iron atoms on the product side. So here we have only 1, and we can just add 3 here. So here we just get the complete balanced equation. Now you can just see your completed equation will be 3Fe plus 4H2O gives you Fe3O4 plus 4H2. Again, after the completion of this equation, so your equation will be 3Fe plus 4H2O gives you Fe3O4 plus 4H2. So this will be balanced, but later on you got to represent the states of matter also. So Fe will be the solid. So you just use small brackets and just represent the state of matter of iron, which is a solid, combines with vapor form of water. So you just take gas here, and Fe3O4 will be again a solid, and hydrogen gas will be liberated. Now this is the method how we balance the chemical equation. So we will have a recap again. So first thing what we did was we just took the boxes of the initial skeletal equation in order to make ourselves confirm that we are not supposed to change anything inside the boxes what we have taken. Okay, so later on we just identified the highest atoms and balanced by taking 4 here to balance oxygen. Then as it became 8 here, we just hydrogen, we just took 4 this one and balanced hydrogen. Then iron we balanced by using iron we took. So that is the thing here. So balanced equation is 3Fe plus 4H2O gives you Fe3O4 plus 4H2. In the next session, we will be learning about different types of chemical
ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರೋ ವಿಡಿಯೋಗಳು ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇಷ್ಟ ಆಗಿದ್ದಲ್ಲಿ ಲೈಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ, ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿರೋ ಬೆಲ್ ಐಕನ್ ಅನ್ನ ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವು ಮಾಡೋ ವಿಡಿಯೋಗಳ ನೋಟಿಫಿಕೇಶನ್ ನಿಮಗೆ ಮೊದಲು ಬರ್ತದೆ. ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿ ಸಂದೇಹಗಳಿದ್ರೆ ಕಮೆಂಟ್ ಸೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ತಿಳಿಸಿ. ಹಾಗೆ ಈ ತರಗತಿಗಳು ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳಿಗೆ ತಲುಪುವಂತೆ ಶೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿ.